our friends over the Birch Gold Group wants to help you secure your retirement. Simply text the words RSBN to 989898. That's RSBN to 989898 for that free information gold kit. Now they're going to show you how you can transfer your traditional IRA into a gold and silver precious metals IRA, and it's real easy to do, and it could be the one thing that we have security going into next year. So we want to thank our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. We've seen what the S&P has done this past year, what the Dow has been, what the NASDAQ has been, and of course you want to make sure that your investments are safe. And at the Birch Gold Group, they want you to take that first step. So text the words RSBN to 989898, the Birch Gold Group. All right, so we just came off the midterms, and that's a big story. And of course, none of us really can overwhelmingly say that was the way we wanted it to go. We had a couple races, obviously, that we won, but some of the key races that we should have won, and we feel like we did win, didn't really go our way. That was a big story this past year. And of course, Kerry Lake winning the primary race there in Arizona, and then going to the general, and then taking, as we know, weeks to come out with the conclusion of who won that particular race in Arizona, which has big implications to what would happen in a presidential run in 2024. Another big story there. Also, Elon Musk buying Twitter, and of course we've had a lot of feedback on Elon Musk and what has happened to Twitter in the last several months. There's a lot of people, well, there were things that you couldn't say back in the day about COVID or the election outcome, or just questioning the results of any election. You couldn't do that. And you certainly couldn't say the words President Donald J. Trump on certain platforms without getting taken off. And so obviously Elon Musk doing some big changes to Twitter and really opening up free speech as well. We talked about inflation. We talked about not only the price of gasoline has been out through the roof, but the cost of living in general, the overall cost of goods, food, oil, gas, housing, lumber, materials, everything has gone up to almost 40-year historical highs. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later in the show. And of course, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia now, it's really ironic to see some of the people that back in the day would be so anti-war, but at this point, it seems like they're one of the most advocates for war, and some of the funding going over to Ukraine right now, and you've got people in Congress wanting to ask for accountability of where exactly is all this money going at this point. And so an audit for the Ukraine is something, the money rather, is something we can look forward to coming up in this new session of Congress, which is scheduled to start on January 3rd. And of course, the big question there is who is going to be Speaker of the House, and there's a lot of challenges on Kevin McCarthy. And there's people that have come out to say, hey, they're never Kevin's, they're never going to vote for Kevin. And this is, they yet to kind of definitive have a person that they wanted to be Speaker of the House. Just some hypothetical names thrown out there. So that should be a very interesting race as well. But we'll go to number 3. Now, there's a lot of these stories that made the list tonight, but we're going to go over just the 3. Number 3 is the FBI raid here at Mar-a-Largo, and it happened over on August the 8th at 9 a.m. is when FBI agents came to this property in hopes of finding this huge bombshell of classified information that apparently President Donald J. Trump took unlawfully to Mar-a-Largo. Let's listen in. We got some sound bites from that. Moderate Republicans that might not have necessarily been in President Trump's camp before, has reached out to the president on social media to say, hey, this is not what we do here in this country. This is a banana republic. Do you want to share your thoughts on what you're hearing on social media and perhaps what you might have felt from the Trump camp?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. People are looking at this going, holy cow, they're going to prosecute, or they want to try to prosecute Donald Trump for the sole purpose of making sure he can't run again because he's so popular. This is something we see in dictatorships. It's not something we see in freedom-loving America. I mean, never in the history of the country have we seen Joe Biden, a president, go after and prosecute their predecessor. And that is largely one of the reasons that Donald Trump didn't as aggressively pursue Hillary Clinton, because it's not the type of country we live in. We live in a freedom-loving country where it's the people who choose the leaders. And Joe Biden is trying to eliminate his competition for 2024 by prosecuting Donald Trump. I mean, it's disgusting, it's illegal, and it needs to be addressed.
Well, Christina, let me ask you, do you think the Biden administration knew that this was going to happen? Because I've seen statements that they are denying any knowledge of this, but how would they allow the FBI to do such a raid that would paint the Biden administration? I mean, we thought the biggest failure so far has been the abandonment in Afghanistan, but now you can almost say the persecution of a former president is now going to define the Biden presidency. So in your opinion, did they know about this?
Of course they knew about this. Merrick Garland, you honestly believe that anybody in the FBI, which is part of the Department of Justice, let's be clear, the FBI and the Department of Justice are not separate. They all fall under the Attorney General. You think anybody in the FBI is going to raid the home, the personal residence of Donald Trump without letting the Attorney General know? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. And God, let's pretend for a second that that's what happened. Let's pretend that this is a bunch of rogue people here in Florida that decided to do this without telling the Attorney General. People would have been fired by now. We would have seen people fired. We would have seen statements coming out condemning it. But instead, if I recall correctly, CNN was reporting that they were cheering in the West Wing. So the fact that they're now coming out and disavowing this and distancing themselves from this shows how this is resonating with the American people. Because if this if this actually resonated with the American people and people wanted this to happen, they wouldn't be disowning it. They would be owning it and saying, yes, we are, strong on criminal justice, and we're going to hold people accountable, and we're going to root out corruption. But the American people don't like it, and so now they have to distance themselves from it because they screwed up.
And as Christina Bobb, attorney for Save America, said in that statement, there's never been a time where the FBI, the DOJ has weaponized their departments to go after either a sitting president or even a former president here in this country. And that's one of the biggest injustices I think we've seen so far the last couple of years, is how those two agencies have really gone after President Trump unlawfully, and all of the spying on his campaign, all the way to coming here to Mar-a-Largo to looking for classified documents. Which is now joining us. We are live here at Mar-a-Largo. If you're wondering what's behind me, well, not a whole lot, but on the other side of the camera, there is a beautiful red carpet that is going to the ballroom, and perhaps you hear the music playing right now. President Trump is scheduled to walk that red carpet at around 9 p.m. Eastern here, and we'll have that for you live as it happens. And because we can't show the red carpet, this is a club, this is a private club, and so for the privacy for the members here, we're not authorized to show you that right now, but we will as soon as President Trump walks out from that. So that is just one of the big stories that happened. We talked a little bit, we saw some stuff on social media about Kari Lake and how just a few days ago she had filed her appeal that now goes to the Supreme Court in Arizona, and we'll see what the judge says there, because I know that Hobbs is scheduled to be sworn in just after the first of the year. So this is a decision I would anticipate that would only take a few days to get back from the judge if that Supreme Court, rather, in Arizona either confirms that ruling that we just had last week, or perhaps they want to overturn that as well. We're so glad you're joining us. Don't forget to share this broadcast right now across all the platforms. And of course, we're so proud to be teaming up with Rumble once again for this broadcast. So make sure you set the link in your text messages, send it to a friend as we get ready to kick off 2023, and so much in the news this past year, not just politically, but really all across the spectrum as far as the economy goes. We got the immigration problem that we have at the southern border, and really the lack of response that we've seen from the Biden administration in terms of the mass amounts of illegal immigrants coming into this country. And we've seen it over at Eagle Pass, Del Rio. We've seen it sections along South Texas have been seeing just really hundreds of thousands of immigrants over the last several months come in. Now, just recently, the city of El Paso, a much bigger city, border city, a matter of fact, the biggest border city along the Mexico-Texas border, has had just really tens of thousands of people coming in there. And of course, Governor Greg Abbott has shipped a lot of those immigrants across the country. Just recently sent them to Vice President Kamala Harris's house. That happened last week there in the District of Columbia. And just one of the ways that Texas is dealing with that as well. Okay, coming up on moment number 2 that we have in this. Now, post 2020 election, President Trump went on a massive 38 tour stop to basically go over his policies, go over what the destructive policies going on in the Biden administration, and really lay out his plan to what he can do when he returns to office, and really kind of a pep rally, if you will, but also to remind the American people that this is what he wants for America, and is Make America Great Again is just not a slogan. It is a mindset and a plan to do just that. Make America great and putting America first. And we've seen what has happened with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with the billions of dollars going over to Ukraine, really unaccounted for. We've got Zelensky taking a tour of Congress, going into the House floor, getting just swooned by House Democrats and even a few Republicans there. It makes you think for a second, is Zelensky the president, and is Ukraine the 51st state, the way we're really laying out the red carpet for Zelensky. But obviously that was a big story. But 38 tour stops later, we knew it was going to happen. We knew he was going to announce, and of course we were here at Mar-a-Largo for that, and this is how it played out.
Welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Thank you, kids. Thank you. All of you. Thank you.
And of course, that was a major announcement. And of course, my next guest was here as well, Christina Bobb, Save America attorney. We were just talking about moment number 2 when President Trump says, guess what? I'm going to run in 2024.
Yeah, I'm excited for the campaign to, be off and running. I'll be part of that. I'm part of it now, and I'm really excited about going for it. I think President Trump really is the person that's working so hard to save this country, to restore integrity to the governmental process across the board. So I think 2023 is going to be a good year.
I think it's going to be a good year. And people kept asking us, Christina, is he going to run? Is he going to run? And that was the biggest question when we were going on that 38 campaign, rally tour stops. And of course, when he finally announced, the crowd erupted, because we know, Christina, that the policies right now for America, they're not first. They're not putting America first.
Right. No, they're not. And it appears that they are intentionally trying to destroy our country. So I don't know how anybody can objectively look at what this government is doing and thinking that they actually have our best interest in mind. I don't think they do.
Yeah. If you're just now joining us, we are live here at Mar-a-Largo, and we've got a red carpet behind us. I just saw one of the biggest names in country music. I don't want to spill the beans here it was, but he just walked by. A lot of great guests here tonight as we kick off 2023, and I can't think of a better place than Mar-a-Largo. Going back to story number 1 was the FBI raid. That was the number 3 came on our list. You were there. we'll real quickly recount exactly how that went down and really how the DOJ and the FBI has really been weaponized to hurt President Trump.
Well, I think they're really going after the president. From my perspective, it seems unfair and unfortunate, I should say. But I'm curious. I'm a bystander, and to some respects, I have a closer perspective, but I don't know what they are intending to do. We saw the January 6th committee write their report and come out with something that I don't think much will come of that. They already withdrew their subpoena. We also saw, they've put Jack Smith in charge as special prosecutor. They're doing everything they can. This is like the 12th time they've tried to attack Donald Trump, and I'm watching it with bated breath. I don't know what to say because I don't know what's going to happen, but I do fully suspect President Trump to survive whatever they throw at him and be the next president of the United States.
Well, we just saw the subpoena drop for January 6th, and that just kind of indicates that it was a big nothing burger, pretty much like his taxes were. Now, the question that I've been getting the last day or so was, okay, we've got Trump's taxes, no big deal. He followed the law. When you made millions, lost millions, wrote off millions, just like every successful business does. But now the question is, where is Biden's tax returns? That's what we want right now.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is snuff out President Trump, because they believe if they can snuff out President Trump, they have a stranglehold on our government and they will never be held accountable. They're not playing the long game. They're not looking at this as we're doing what we think is right for the country. And the reality is, if President Trump is successful, and I think he will be, at getting back in, they're all outed and they know it. And so they're going for broke. They're doing everything they can right now to get rid of Donald Trump so that they don't have to deal with the consequences of their actions. I mean, look at the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now that Twitter, Elon Musk has confirmed that the story was true and they suppressed it unfairly, I would say illegally. That's the only thing that the press has covered, was the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop. But why aren't we talking about the contents of the laptop? The contents of the laptop show 10% for the big guy. The current occupant of the White House is actually receiving bribes from other countries. We see him taking from China, Russia, Ukraine. We see his son from the Senate Homeland Security report involved in human trafficking. That came out in 2020. Ron Johnson was the chairman of that committee. No one's talking about the actual content of what has been revealed. And so I'm eager to see that start to get some more coverage.
And also the SARS report, the suspicious activity reports from banks showing millions of dollars flowing from China back to here to the U.S. and the undisclosed bank accounts, which is something that I think that's what they get Joe Biden on.
There's so much that we can get Joe Biden on, but quite honestly, Joe Biden he doesn't look like he's doing well. I want to get Hunter Biden. I want to get everybody that has empowered this cabal to take over the United States. And by get, I mean out, exposed, show what has happened, because we have to have truth and transparency in our government.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier about Kari Lake and what took place this past year. Won her primary, got to the general election. We all know exactly what happened there. What's your thoughts on what, I know that they just filed an appeal to the decision down to the Supreme Court?
Well, I believe they just filed the request to transfer. So the appeal has been pending at the Court of Appeals for a few days now. It has not yet been heard, hasn't gone anywhere. And they recently filed a request to transfer to the Arizona Supreme Court. And it's basically a request to speed up the process, because they're saying no matter what happens at the Court of Appeals, it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. So let's just go up there right now. This case should be decided by the Arizona Supreme Court. So will you save us all the trouble and just hear it now.
Just hear it now, and of course, and we saw the trial. And if you're just like Christina and I at home, you heard all the evidence, we heard witnesses, and we all said this is a slam dunk.
It is a slam dunk. I believe Carrie like wholeheartedly won her election. It was rigged and stolen from her. I believe the court case proved it. I believe she proved, her attorneys met their burden of proof to prove that the election is uncertain. The burden that they have to meet is that the election is uncertain, that they can't tell what the actual count is. And that was more than met. And so they met their burden. Again, it was stolen because I think we lack a judiciary with any level of integrity. And so the hope is that the Arizona Supreme Court has a smidgen of integrity and it will actually make an honest ruling.
Here we go. We'll get to the number one story of the year for us, but it's about local time, 8:51 here. President Trump is scheduled at around 9 o'clock to walk the red carpet that's behind us. But let's pause for a second. You look beautiful. You got your nice black dress on. So what does it feel like tonight to be at President Trump's home, Mar-a-Largo, celebrating another year?
It's exciting. I mean, it's always an honor to come here, whether I come here for work or whether I come here for a party. It's an honor, I think, to be here.
It's almost, you have to kind of like pinch yourself that you come here for work. I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
It is. I'm so lucky to get to work with the president, and so many great people that are here tonight, yourself included.
That's great.
It's really fun. So it's such an honor and blessing, and I'm grateful to Right Side for showing it, because obviously not everybody can be here to experience it. So hopefully you feel like you get a piece of it by watching tonight.
There you go. And of course, if you're just now joining us, the reason why it's the camera's focused this way is because we have a red carpet behind us. But there's members here, and there's some privacy concerns. And of course, not everybody wants to be on TV, so we have to shoot this way up until when the president comes out, and we will flip the camera around there. We're going to get to the number one here in just a second. But let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about your savings account. Let's talk about your retirement account. Now, I don't think it's any kind of New Year's resolution that Biden's having right now to ruin the economy. But if that's what he wants to do, that's exactly what he's doing. But I know that doesn't fit your New Year's resolution. It is to secure your retirement. That's our friends over at the Birch Gold Group have a free information kit for you to take that first step in investing in gold, silver, and precious metals. Just text the words right now, RSBN to 989898. That's RSBN to 989898 to get that free information gold kit. Now, Christina, for 5,000 New Year's Eves, gold has been the one safe and secure place that survives all the geopolitics, all the recessions, all that good stuff. So go check it out. Go text the words RSBN to 989898. That's the Birch Gold Group, our nice partners tonight for this broadcast. Go secure that savings. I tell you what, now gas has come down a little bit. I know in Texas, I filled up the other day, it was like $2.48, $2.38. I thought, my goodness. But the reason why, because Biden has flooded the market with our petroleum reserves and basically, doing a little deal with Russia, and that's why we have such a lower price in oil and gas. But that's not going to last.
No, but it also comes at a cost. While we might not be paying at the pump, we're paying by our national security, because he's depleting our strategic oil reserves, which is part of our national security. And to deplete that puts us in a very weak and vulnerable state. So don't think it doesn't come at a cost. It absolutely does.
Okay. Let's get to our number one story of the year. It happened right there on June 24th in front of the Supreme Court, the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, that basically kicked down abortion to the states, that reversal there, the Roe v. Wade. I was there as it broke. Take a listen.
Threatening us with.
All right, if you guys just now joining us, hi, welcome. We are live here. Oh, we are just getting word. Let's listen in on this very. I'll probably wrap it up, and let's just turn the camera that way because I don't want to miss.
Threatening us with.
All right, if you guys just now joining us, hi, welcome. We are live here. Oh, just getting word. Let's listen in on this very historic day. We are live in front of the Supreme Court as a major ruling has come down in the reversal of Roe v. Wade. Let's listen in. The announcement coming just moments after we questioned why police left this area and before any anticipated verdict would happen. So I just got to ask you, I don't understand that at all, why the police would vacate this area, then moments later a decision to be dropped. But let's listen in. Yeah, that was such a great moment for the pro-life movement. Of course, we were there, and even earlier on November 1st, the Texas Heartbeat Act, I was there with the Attorney General Ken Paxton, how that got pushed through, and that was all in an effort to what you saw that took place there on Friday, June 24th, in front of the Supreme Court. All right, we are moments away from President Trump walking the red carpet here at Mar-a-Largo. We want to remind everybody, go check out our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. Now, you know what? Your New Year's resolution is to save for your retirement and really fight all of the inflation and what's going on in this country and the market instability. So go check out our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. Now, they are the experts in precious metals, gold, silver. They got a free information kit for you. They want you to have it. Just text the words RSBN. That's RSBN to 989898. Take that first step in 2023 of securing your retirement. We've seen what the indexes have done this past year. Some of the worst performance since 2008. Secure your retirement. Go check out our friends over at the Birch Gold Group right now and take that first step. All right, this is what we're going to do. It's sitting at 8:58 here locally. We're going to swing the camera around to the red carpet and let you see a little bit of the action coming through. Now, President Trump is scheduled to come here in about 2 minutes. Now, there's no real definitive time that he will spend with us in front of the camera. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 15. We got a 2-minute warning on that, so let's go ahead and we'll swing that around as we get in position here. As we are live, you got a live shot now of the red carpet. Now the ballroom is just off to the camera right. So they just kind of closed the doors. You can hear some of the music that's playing right now. Like I said, we've seen even Mike Lindell came by here earlier and said a few words to us. And he actually wanted to stay here and talk a little bit longer, but had to go inside. But we're so excited you're joining us on this New Year's Eve as we ring in 2023 live from Mar-a-Largo, just moments away from President Trump making his brief walk here from, it looks like, the the ballroom, the dining room, if you will. On the other side of this red carpet goes into a bigger, kind of a smaller ballroom. We've had some few dinners there as well. And actually the big ballroom is where he announced just a few months ago that he was running in the 2024 election. He made that announcement, and we were there covering that as well. Glad you're joining us. A great time to share this broadcast. Tag a friend, make a comment, let us know what exactly you're doing on this New Year's Eve after this all wraps up here at Mar-a-Largo. Let us know in the comments where you're watching us from as well. We're always amazed that a lot of the international audience that we have that pays so much attention now. Oh, here comes the President and First Lady walking up right now.
Questions? Well, so what are your hopes for America in 2023, Mr. President? Well, peace. We should have never been involved with a certain war that's taking place right now. It's really hurting a lot of, killing a lot of people, but hurting a lot of countries. And hopefully that'll get straightened out very quickly with Ukraine and Russia. We have to have that. We have to have a strong border, very importantly. We have to have a strong border. We have to have it now. Our country is being very gravely hurt. And we have to bring back the economy. We have to get rid of inflation. It's destroying our country. Go ahead, please. I think it's a disgrace what's happened with the FBI and with the weaponization of justice. There's never been anything like this, and it is disgraceful. And thank you for that question.
How are you feeling about the campaign?
Well, I think very good. You know, campaigns really, you're talking about almost 2 years, but I think very good. I think we're doing really well. I saw poll numbers just today that were fantastic, and I think we're going to do well. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. We're going to make America great again. I think we have to look at the borders, and we have to look at inflation very quickly. We have to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Any New Year's resolutions for you and the First Lady?
Well, we have a great relationship. We've gotten along very well from day one, and we're going to keep it that way. Thank you.
There you go. Obviously, First Lady looking stunning in the dress as they make their way into the ballroom. Now, we'll see if we can get a. We'll keep the camera on that to see if we can kind of get an idea. Maybe you might have lost them a little bit as it gets dark and walks away. But we're so glad that you're able to join us here. Now I'm going to have to turn this camera around here, the light, as well, there you have it. So he's asked the question, obviously, about immigration, the border. Ukraine was definitely something that was brought up as well. And of course, I asked the question as the Congress goes back in session on January the 3rd, and that's assuming that a speaker is actually picked at that point as well, as there is a challenge to Kevin McCarthy as far as a leader for Speaker of the House. So we'll see how that unravels. That is just scheduled to take place on the 3rd, when the new session of Congress and new members are sworn in on the 3rd. But that can't happen until we find a speaker. So that could be days. Now, we've had historically, it has taken much longer historically to happen. It could go, they'll go to a vote, they'll take a break, they'll go, it's discussion, they'll go to another vote, and that could go on and on and on for days. So we'll see what happens there. But there should be a focus on not only Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, the audit, as far as that goes. It's also should be, we'll get the still photographers through here. I guess that's what we're doing. It should be a focus on auditing the money to Ukraine. And of course, it should be a focus on Dr. Fauci and the origins of COVID. We've seen some of that topic up as well, which, by the way, I believe today is the last day of Dr. Fauci in his role right now. But we're so glad you're joining us on this very historic day as we kick in 2023. To recap some of the stories we've talked about, number 3 on our list was the raid here at Mar-a-Lago by the FBI. Christina Bobb, attorney for Save America, was on the scene that morning at 9 a.m. With the federal agents as they went through the residence here at Mar-a-Lago, getting really dozens of documents and boxes that they reviewed for any type of classified information that was taken from Mar-a-Lago. Then coming in at number 2 was the announcement we had here at Mar-a-Lago just several months ago that he was going to make a bid for 2024 presidential run. Now, of course, he did 38 rallies past the 2020 election, and it was very much laid out his plan of the Make America Great Again, Save America agenda. And of course, I've heard conservatives say, well, he doesn't really spend enough time talking about what he would do if he was returned to office. And I'm like, I'm not quite sure what rally out of the 38 that you missed that he's laid it all out. Then coming in at number 1 was the Dobbs versus Jackson, Mississippi, or Jackson Women's Health, the reversal, the kick down, you used to say, on Roe v. Wade, being the right to abortion getting kicked down to the states is where it should have been and should have stayed back whenever it was made onto a federal effect. But that was our number 1 story, most meaningful story that we heard from you guys that said, look, the pro-life movement, and of course President Trump is responsible for a lot of that, appointing a lot of conservative Supreme Court judges on the bench, and that not just on the Supreme Court, but really across the country, that has really upheld a lot of the, and thank God that he did, because we've seen exactly what happens when we get some of these other judges that don't necessarily put America first and put the Constitution first and all of our rights first, and the more of a globalist socialist agenda. And we are very thankful that President Trump had done just that. They just got finished playing Proud to be an American, so that was probably when President Trump just made his entrance there with the First Lady looking stunning tonight. Hopefully we can we'll push out some social media clips on there. If someone missed it, this broadcast will rebroadcast this, and we'll also push some clips out as well. But so glad you're joining us, and of course, so many stories this past year. And of course, the midterms we just came off of. Fetterman still very silent on no public press conference, no public speech or anything of point since post-election. And of course, we have the heated race that's still kind of going down there in Arizona between Kerry Lake and Katie Hobbs. Same thing. Hobbs has been very silent post-election. We'll see what happens there. So much to unpack this past year, but we're very optimistic of what 2023 looks like. And of course, I was talking to Mike Lindell just briefly, and he was talking about the need for the GOP chairman. You know, who's going to lead that? And of course, he is one of the people in there running for that. And so he's talked about his vision of really of winning and standing up and fighting in some of these challenges that we have. And we just feel like at this point, we have not done that effectively, and that we have lost some races that, quite frankly, we should have won and got more support. And if you want to go to Mitch McConnell and the lack of support that he's given a lot of people in the race, you can point fingers at that. But we have just got to get better at not only just the policies, which we all think our policies are the best policies for America, but we need to start getting it on the ground game and getting there. Okay, we're getting the signal to wrap it up here as we are live at Mar-a-Largo. As a reminder, go to our website, rsbnetwork.com, rsbnetwork.com. Sign up for our newsletter. It's absolutely free. You just put a couple information in, and you'll get that into your inbox once a week, or when news warrants, we'll get that in there. You can also donate to our company right there as well. rsbnetwork.com/donate. You can slap that in there, and as the great Larry Elder would say, throw a little something in the tip jar. And you can also follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can follow me as well at Brian Glenn TV on Twitter, Instagram, True Social, Getter, across the board. And make sure you also follow us on our regular social medias as well. All right, we're getting the wrap. I hope everyone has a very safe and blessed New Year's Eve as we make our way into 2023. Signing off, Brian Glenn from Mar-a-Largo. Until next time, goodbye and God bless.
Five words? You pronounce wrong 2 years before your brain starts shutting down.
It's off with your head. Gonna change it and make it a world you won't forget. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I stop breathing fire. get too close, you get a royalty high. So breathe in to feel alive. She turns tears to diamonds. Whoa. Trying to find that silver lining. Whoa. And once in a while I'll go walking in the twilight, counting down to midnight. Close my eyes and wait for her to shine. I'm hiding in the shadows, praying that you break free in the dark of the night. She got danger on her mind. She's a $1,000,000 baby. Nobody can explain it. She's a miracle. Miracle. especially when you've had a few. Oh yeah. All the things I heard from your ex, now they make a whole lot of sense. Already feel bad for your next to have to put up with you. Oh yeah. Worked on myself, opened my eyes. You hate my friends, turns out they were right. It takes two to make it all go right. But with it's always my fault and yours. Just like a time bomb, and I think you should take a second. Look at your reflection, baby. Maybe you're the problem. Okay, you see your pattern, your point of view. Got it all backwards. You should take your little finger and just point it in the mirror, baby. Maybe you're the problem. You should take your little finger. Most out of touch and not even close. Drama always follows you home, but I won't be waiting no more. Worked on myself, opened my eyes. You hate my friends, turns out they were right. It takes two to make it all go. But with it's always my fault and your short fuse, just like a time bomb. And I think you should take a second. Your reflection, baby, maybe you're the problem. Okay, you see your pattern, your point of view. Got it all backwards. You should take your little finger and just point it in the mirror, baby. Maybe you're the problem. You should take your little finger and point it in the mirror, baby. Maybe you're the problem. It's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's you. But it's always my fault and your short fuse, just like a time bomb. And I think you should take a second.